Everyone in the village ignored the old woman. Except Amina. The day Amina helped the old woman at the river stopped flowing. But no one in the village believed her when she said that. In the village of Kawari, the river was more than water. It was life. Every morning before the sun climbed over the red hills, women walked down the winding path to the riverbank carrying clay pots on their heads. Children laughed as they chased each other through tall grasses. Fishermen pushed their wooden boats into the calm water. And every evening, the village elders poured a small cup of palm wine into the river. "Respect the river," they always said. "Because the river remembers." But most people had forgotten why. Except the very old. And sometimes, the river itself. Among the villagers lived a quiet girl named Amina. She was 17, thin from long days of work, with dark thoughtful eyes that always seemed to notice things other people missed. Amina lived with her widowed father in a small mud house at the edge of the village. Her mother had died when she was very young. Since then, Amina had grown used to carrying burdens far heavier than her years. Every morning she woke before dawn. She swept the compound, cooked porridge, fetched water, then walked to the market to help her father sell woven baskets. The other girls in the village often laughed at her, not because she had done anything wrong, but because kindness was easy to laugh at. "Amina is too soft," they would whisper. "She helps everyone." And sometimes they were right. If an old man dropped his walking stick, Amina picked it up. If a child cried, she wiped their tears. If someone struggled under a heavy load, she offered her hands without hesitation. To Amina, kindness felt natural. But to many others, it looked like weakness. One afternoon after the market closed, the sun burned low in the sky. The dusty path to the village glowed orange beneath Amina's feet. Most of the traders had already left. The road was quiet. That was when she saw her, an old woman walking slowly along the path toward the river. Her back was bent like a tree twisted by storms. And on her head was a basket so large and heavy that Amina felt pain just looking at it. The basket was filled with wet firewood. The kind that becomes twice as heavy when soaked with river water. The old woman stumbled. Just once. But it was enough. Several villagers walked past her. None of them stopped. Some pretended not to see. Others simply shook their heads. "That is not our problem," one man muttered. But Amina slowed her steps. Something about the old woman bothered her. Not the weight she carried. Not her age. But the way the air around her seemed strangely still. Even the wind had stopped moving. Amina stepped forward. "Grandmother," she said gently, "let me help you." The old woman lifted her head slowly. Her eyes were deep and dark. So dark that for a moment Amina felt as if she were looking into water instead of eyes. "You want to help me?" the woman asked. Her voice was soft, but carried a strange echo. Amina nodded. "That load is too heavy." The old woman studied her carefully. "You do not know me," she said. "That doesn't matter," Amina replied. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then the old woman smiled. "Very well." The moment Amina lifted the basket from the woman's head, the ground trembled slightly beneath her feet. It was so subtle that anyone else might have missed it. But Amina felt it. The basket was unbelievably heavy. Heavier than any bundle of firewood should be. It felt as if she were carrying a piece of the river itself. The old woman watched her quietly. "Are you sure you can carry it?" she asked. Amina adjusted the basket on her head and smiled. "I will try." And together, they began walking toward the river. Amina didn't know it yet. But the moment she chose kindness on that dusty road, her life had already begun to change. The path to the river had never felt so long. And the closer Amina walked beside the old woman, the stranger the world became. The road curved through tall grasses and scattered baobab trees. Usually, birds sang loudly in the branches above. But that afternoon, the forest had fallen silent. Amina shifted the basket carefully. Sweat rolled down her neck. "Where do you live, grandmother?" she asked. The old woman walked slowly beside her. "Near the river," she replied. That was all she said. After a few minutes, Amina noticed something odd. They had already walked past the same baobab tree twice. She recognized its wide trunk and the lightning scar that split its bark. Yet somehow, they kept returning to it. Amina frowned. "That's strange." "What is?" the old woman asked calmly. "We passed this tree before." The old woman only smiled faintly. Some paths are not meant to be walked quickly. Amina didn't understand what that meant. But the basket suddenly felt heavier. The sky began to darken. Not like sunset, more like clouds gathering too quickly. A distant rumble rolled across the hills. Thunder. But the sky above them was still clear. Amina's heart began to beat faster. "Grandmother, are we close?" The old woman nodded. "Yes." But something in her voice made Amina uneasy. At last, the trees opened. And the river appeared. But it didn't look the way Amina remembered. The water was darker, deeper. The surface moved slowly like breathing. Amina stepped closer. And suddenly, the basket on her head became weightless. As light as dry leaves. She gasped. The old woman watched her carefully. "Set it down." Amina lowered the basket to the ground. The moment it touched the earth, the river rippled violently. Waves spread across the water without wind. Amina stepped back in surprise. "What is happening?" she whispered. The old woman stepped forward and smiled. When the old woman straightened her back, she was no longer old. Amina blinked. For a moment she thought she was imagining things. But the bent woman she had walked beside was standing tall now, her back straight, her eyes glowing softly like moonlight on water. The basket on the ground slowly dissolved into mist. Amina's breath caught in her throat. "Who are you?" she whispered. The wind returned suddenly. But it wasn't an ordinary wind. It rose from the river itself. The water swirled slowly around the woman's feet. And the air smelled fresh and powerful, like rain before a storm. The woman looked at Amina with gentle eyes. "For many years," she said softly, "I have walked this village in disguise." Amina's heart pounded. "Why?" "To see who still remembers kindness." The woman stepped toward the river. The water parted around her feet like it recognized her. Amina's hands trembled. The stories her grandmother used to tell suddenly flooded back. Stories about the spirit who guarded the river. The one who rewarded the pure of heart. And punished the greedy. Her voice shook. "Are you?" The woman smiled. "I am the guardian of the river." The water behind her rose like a curtain of silver light. "I am the one your elders once honored. I am the one your people have begun to forget." Amina fell to her knees. Not out of fear. Oh, all she had done was help an old woman. And somehow, she had helped a goddess. The river goddess did not reward Amina immediately. Instead, she asked a question that frightened her. The river shimmered like a sheet of moving glass. The wind had grown stronger, stirring the long grasses along the banks. Amina slowly rose from her knees. The woman standing before her no longer looked like the tired old stranger she had met on the road. Her clothes flowed like water. Her hair moved gently even when the wind paused. She looked ancient and young at the same time. The river guardian studied Amina quietly. "Many people walk past those who struggle," the goddess said. "But you did not." Amina lowered her eyes. "It was only a small thing." The goddess smiled slightly. Small things reveal the truth of the heart. The river behind her began to glow faintly beneath the water's surface. Fish moved slowly like silver shadows. Amina watched in wonder. Then the goddess spoke again. "Kindness is rare in your village now." The words hung heavy in the air. "Your people take from the river," she continued. "They fish too much. They throw waste into the water. They cut trees along my banks." Amina felt shame rise in her chest. She knew it was true. The goddess turned her gaze toward the village far beyond the hills. For generations I protected Kawari. But the people have forgotten respect. Her voice deepened. When humans forget gratitude, rivers grow silent. Amina's heart tightened. Will the river leave us? She asked softly. The goddess did not answer immediately. Instead, she raised her hand. The water in the river began to swirl. Suddenly, the surface parted like a mirror splitting open. A vision appeared in the water. Amina gasped. The riverbed was dry. Fish lay lifeless on cracked mud. Villagers wandered the empty banks carrying empty pots. Children cried from thirst. The once powerful river had vanished. Amina covered her mouth. No. The goddess looked at her gently. This is the future if nothing changes. Amina's voice trembled. Can it be stopped? The goddess nodded slowly. Yes. Then she looked directly into Amina's eyes. But only if someone reminds the village what kindness truly means. The river goddess placed a decision in Amina's hands. A decision that could save or destroy the entire village. The vision faded. The river returned to its calm surface. Amina stood silently as the weight of the goddess's words sank into her heart. You must carry a message back to Kawari, the goddess said. Tell them the river will remain only if they change their ways. Amina nodded quickly. I will tell them. But the goddess raised a hand. They will not believe you easily. Amina knew she was right. Many villagers barely listened to elders anymore. Why would they believe a simple girl? The goddess stepped closer. Her voice softened. Humans trust proof. Amina watched carefully. What kind of proof? The goddess reached into the river. Her hand disappeared beneath the water. When she lifted it again, she held a small stone. But it was unlike any stone Amina had seen. It glowed faintly with a soft blue light. This is a river heart stone, the goddess explained. As long as it shines, the river lives. Amina stared at it in amazement. Then the goddess said something unexpected. But if greed touches this stone, its light will fade. Amina's heart skipped. Greed. The goddess nodded. If the people fight over it. If they try to sell it. If they seek power through it. The river will disappear forever. The goddess placed the glowing stone into Amina's hands. Felt warm, like living water. You must protect it, she said. And remind your people who they used to be. When Amina returned to the village, the first person she saw was the one who hated kindness the most. The sky had grown darker as Amina walked back toward Kawari. Thunder rolled across the hills again. By the time she reached the village gates, evening had fallen. Villagers gathered in the central square around cooking fires. Laughter and conversation filled the air. No one noticed the glowing stone hidden in Amina's hands. Except one man. His name was Bako. Bako was the richest trader in the village. But his wealth had never brought him kindness. He was known for cheating farmers, underpaying fishermen, and hoarding grain during hard seasons. Bako noticed the blue glow immediately. His eyes narrowed. What is that? He asked. Amina hesitated. Villagers nearby turned to look. It is a message from the river, she said carefully. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Bako laughed loudly. A message. From water. People chuckled nervously. Amina stepped forward. The river goddess spoke to me. Silence fell instantly. Some villagers crossed themselves nervously. Others whispered prayers. But Bako only smiled. If the river goddess spoke to you, he said smoothly, then show us the proof. Amina opened her hands. The glowing stone lit the square with soft blue light. Gasps echoed through the crowd. But Bako's eyes filled with something dangerous. Not wonder, greed. In that moment, Amina realized something frightening. The goddess had not only tested her kindness. She was about to test the entire village. The moment the villagers saw the glowing stone, Kawari began to change. The light from the stone shimmered across the square. Children stared in awe. Elders whispered old river prayers. Amina explained everything the goddess had told her. The vision of the dry river. The warning. Promise. If we respect the river again, she said, it will remain. For a moment the village was silent. Then Bako stepped forward slowly. A magical stone, he said thoughtfully. His voice carried across the crowd. Do you know what this could be worth? Several villagers looked uncertain. Bako continued. Kings would pay gold for something like this. Merchants would travel for weeks just to see it. Amina shook her head. It cannot be sold. Why not? Bako challenged. Because it belongs to the river. Bako laughed. Everything belongs to whoever can control it. A murmur of agreement spread among some villagers. Amina's stomach tightened. Suddenly the glowing stone flickered. Just once. But everyone saw it. The crowd fell silent. Amina's voice rose urgently. Did you see? If greed touches this stone, the river will die. Fear spread quickly. But Bako's eyes only grew darker. That night, Amina realized the river goddess had chosen her for a reason. The village gathered again at dawn. Amina stood beside the river with the glowing stone. The villagers watched nervously. Even Bako had come. The water flowed quietly beside them. Amina lifted the stone. This belongs to the river, she said. If we keep it, greed will destroy us. Bako stepped forward quickly. Then give it to me, he said. I will protect it. The villagers waited. Amina looked at the stone, then at the river. She understood the goddess's test at last. The village didn't need power. It needed humility. Without another word, Amina threw the glowing stone back into the river. Gasps exploded across the crowd. Bako shouted in anger. What have you done? The water erupted with brilliant light. The river goddess appeared once more above the waves. You have chosen wisdom over power, she said proudly. The villagers fell to their knees. And from that day forward, Kawari remembered the most important truth of all. The river does not reward the strongest. It rewards the kind. If you believe stories still carry fire, if you believe wisdom survives in whispers, then like, subscribe and share so this flame never dies.